Good morning to students. I am Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, worked as an associate professor for 13 years in JNTU, Hyderabad. Presently I am working as a professor at Rajiv Gandhi Memorial College of Engineering and Technology, Nandyal. Today I am going to take you the introduction part of Theory of Computation. My sincere request to all of you is to note down entire thing on paper, otherwise it becomes Greek and Latin. Everybody feels this is a tough subject, but this is not a tough subject. I am going to take you with so many practical day-to-day examples, so you have to note down those things and you have to work out at the home. This is an important and crucial subject for the computer science specialist or maybe information technology specialist. This subject is a prerequisite for compiler design. And this subject, compiler design or language processors, you are going to learn in the next semester. That means those who want to know compiler design or the steps of compilation, they should know the subject automata theory of languages. So to understand the philosophy behind the subject and the significance of this subject, first of all, let us try to understand what is a compiler. Everybody knows about a compiler. A compiler is nothing but a translator that translates a high-level language program into an assembly language code. And you already know that a high-level language code can be a C language or C++, Pascal, Fortran and so and so. That means a compiler basically takes a C language program and translates that into an assembly code. Then you have got an assembler, which is again a translator, which takes this assembly language code and converts that into machine code. So therefore, let us try to understand the process of translation, how the compiler does the translation. That is for us very important to understand this subject. So now let us try to understand the steps involved in the compilation or the process involved in the compiler design. Dear students, you should have a pen and paper with you and please note down these things. These are crucial things to understand this subject. So to understand the steps involved in the compilation, I have taken an ordinary translator as an example who translates an English language text into a Telugu language text. So the job of translator is, for him the source language is the English language text and he will be translating that into a Telugu language text. So to understand the process of translation, I have given to the translator the following sentence. Please note down. The sentence 1, this is my book. The translator has translated that. But I could not able to understand the process of translation. The second sentence I have given to the translator is, this is my book. I am feeling that this is my book, but the translator says he cannot translate. Then immediately I asked the translator, why you cannot translate this sentence? Then he pointed out, this sentence consists of two invalid words. Then I asked the translator, first of all you define me what is a valid word. Then the translator has defined me a valid word is a word which is found in the dictionary. For him he said meaning is not here, but for him the word should be found in the dictionary. Since these two words are not found in the dictionary, then he said they are invalid words. Now I came to know one thing, that the translator is using a tool called dictionary. First of all, he is using a tool called dictionary without meaning to know whether it is a valid word or not. For that, what the translator is doing is, he is taking each and every word, for example this, and he is searching into the dictionary and he is coming with an output whether the word is recognized or not. This word has been recognized by the translator. Then he took the word ISS. Then again he has gone into the dictionary and he has searched in the dictionary and he came with an output that this word is not recognized. That means the translator himself is acting as a recognizer. So he has got a tool dictionary and he himself is acting as what? As a recognizer by taking this each and every word whether they are valid or not. The valid words are also being called as tokens in terms of compiler. terminology. So next semester you will be calling them as tokens, but token is nothing but what? A valid word. Please note down the third sentence. This book belongs to Krishna. I have given this to the translator to translate. The translator said he cannot translate. I have wondered. Then I asked, why you can't translate? Then he said, Krishna is not a valid word. Is not a valid word. Invalid. Because he is defining that the word Krishna is not found in the dictionary. That's why he cannot translate. Then I asked the translator, okay, your job is over. Then I called the second translator to translate this. The second translator has translated this into Telugu text. Then I asked the translator, the second translator, why the first translator has told me that Krishna is an invalid word. Then the second translator has told there are two types of valid words or tokens. Valid words are also called as tokens. One type of valid words are reserved words which are found in dictionary. Reserved words which are found in dictionary. For example, the reserved words of C language are int, for, do, while, switch and so on. These are all the reserved words. That means the words defined by the language. Other type of valid words are tokens or nouns or identifiers. These are the words defined by the user. For example, sum, total, A, comma, B, T. These are the words in C language. Otherwise, Vijay, Krishna and so, the names. So that means there are valid words are of two types. One is the reserved word and second one is the nouns. But our dictionaries can only keep what? The reserved words. A dictionary of English language can keep maybe 5 crores of reserved words that are being defined by the English language. No dictionary can maintain all the nouns because nouns are infinite. So now I came to know here again two things. The translator is maintaining a dictionary without meaning. And the second thing, he himself is a recognizer. He is taking each and every word and searching in the dictionary and coming with an output whether the word is recognized or not. And the valid words are of two types. And our dictionaries are not so powerful to handle the nouns. But in Automata, we define something called regular expressions, which describes the valid words of a language, but they can have both the reserved words and the nouns. That means regular expressions are also just like dictionaries without meaning, but they are more and more powerful. The fourth sentence I have given to the translator is, book Krishna this belongs. Maybe I wanted to give, this book belongs to Krishna. But the translator said he cannot translate. Then I asked why. All are valid words. Book is a valid word. Krishna is a valid word of the type identifier. This is a valid word. Belongs is also a valid word. But the translator said he cannot translate because this sentence is grammatically not correct. There is a grammatical error. Or he also called it as a semantic error. Then I said, how can you say that there is a grammatical error? Then he brought me a grammar book. That is the tool he is using. And he has shown me that no sentence of English can have this type of phrase in the grammar book. That means again the translator himself is acting as a recognizer, taking this sentence and verifying in the grammar book whether such sentences can be formed in English or not. Since such type of sentences cannot be formed, he says there is a grammatical error and he cannot translate. So from this I could able to understand, able to summarize the entire translation process into two steps. The step one is the analysis of source language. Step one is nothing but what? Analysis of source language. In the analysis of source language again consists of two parts. One is verification for valid words. For the verification of valid words, the translator is using a tool called dictionary without meaning. Next one is the verification of grammar. For the verification of grammar, the translator is using a tool called grammar book. In our finite automata or in our theory of computation, we will be talking about regular expressions which are similar to dictionary without meanings. And we will be talking about grammar book like context-free grammars, context-sensitive grammars and so on. and the second part is the translation. In fact, any compiler spends more than 70% of the time in the analysis of the source language, then 30% of the time, even less, it spends in translation. So from this one can easily understand that if anybody wants to translate one language to the other language, first of all, he should have a clear-cut idea on the source language. Once he has got an idea, then only he can do the analysis on the source language, whether the source language is in the correct form or not. Once the source language is in the correct form, then only he can go for what? Translation. If the source language is not in the correct form, then he cannot go for translation. That means you should have a clear-cut idea on the source language. For example, whenever we write a C program, you give for compilation. If there are no errors, then you can go for execution. If at all there are errors, then you have to rectify those errors, then only the compilation part will be finished, then only you can execute your program. For example, you may be asking what type of grammatical errors in C language you can have. One of the simple grammatical error I can say you here, C equal to A plus B. This is a pure grammatical error in terms of C language. Why? Because once you have got the left bracket, you should also have what? A right parenthesis. You have got a left parenthesis, but you don't have a right parenthesis. It is a grammatical error. So that means you can only compile once source language is in the right form, but our compilers are today very intelligent. They can give you where the errors are and how to rectify them in the same way a translator gives.